So in this session I would like to explain the concepts of circuit breakers. Okay, so in the power system, the main purpose of using the circuit breakers is to make the circuit or to break the circuit. The first one is to make the circuit after clearing of the fault, and the second one is to break the circuit. To break the circuit in during fault condition. To break the circuit. Okay, so here the two important usage of circuit breaker: to make the circuit and as well as to break the circuit. So here in the power system, for the protection of the equipment or to component, we are having a combination of protection devices, that is relay and as well as circuit breaker. Okay, so whenever there is a fault taken place in the power system, relay has to sense the fault current, and it has to give the trip signal to circuit breaker. So that the circuit breaker will be breaking the circuit from the fault point. So that the equipment which are connected in the circuit will be protected from this fault current. So if the magnitude of the fault current is more, then that fault current will be flowing through the equipment which are connected in the circuit in the power system. So because of the fault current, the equipment will be damaged. So to avoid that kind of damage, the protection equipment is placed in the power system network. So that is called a relay and circuit breaker protection device. So the fundamental duty of the relay is to sense the fault. It has to sense the fault, and it has to give the trip signal to the circuit breaker, so that the circuit breaker will be acting and it will be isolating the faulty point from the circuit. So therefore the circuit breakers are playing an important role in the power system network. Okay, especially in the protection point of view. So here the main purpose is to break the circuit during the fault condition. Okay, so to break the circuit during the fault condition. So why we have to break the circuit from the fault condition? To protect the circuit or to protect the equipment which are connected to the power system network. Okay, so the main function of circuit breaker is to break the circuit, that is during fault condition. Whatever it may be the fault, either it may be a open circuit fault or a short circuit fault. So from any one of the fault, it has to be protected from the faulty point. So when this will be happening? As and when it receives the signal from the relay. Okay, so the relay will be issuing the trip signal to the circuit breaker, and the circuit breaker will be breaking the circuit. Okay, and another important usage of the circuit breaker is, so it can be break the circuit or it can be make the circuit under full load condition. So under full load condition operation is possible. Under full load condition means what? So it is working with maximum capability. The circuit is working with maximum capability, so that is called a full load condition. So here the main reason is we are having a two devices to break the circuit or to make the circuit. Here first one is an isolator, and second one is a circuit breaker. So whenever circuit breaker is there, I am representing like CB. So what is the difference between these two, isolator and a circuit breaker? Means, so isolator is a breaking device which can break the circuit or make the circuit. So like this, the isolator will be like this. So which is used for making the circuit or breaking the circuit. So generally we discuss for the breaking of the circuit only. So isolator is used for breaking the circuit, and circuit breaker also the same phenomena here. So here this is a circuit breaker. Let us take the main function of the circuit breaker is also to break the circuit or to make the circuit. So I am discussing here to breaking the circuit only during fault condition. So here the function is same. Both isolator and circuit breaker are using for the same purpose only, but the main difference is here isolator can only break the circuit during offload condition, but whereas the circuit breaker can be break the circuit during full load condition or on load condition, or full load condition it can be done. So full load condition, on load or full load condition. So as and when there is a load, you can still break the circuit by using circuit breakers, but you cannot do with isolator. Isolator is useful as and when there is no load, and so therefore it can be used at the offload condition. But in the practical case, so the circuit breaker is very much useful for breaking the circuit during the fault condition, even though there is a full load or on load condition. Because the main reason of going for the circuit breakers is, so the contacts will be there here. So these are operated at high potential generally in the circuit. So when you are opening these contacts, the dielectric medium which is existing between these contacts is generally air. So the dielectric strength of the air is 21.1 kilovolts per centimeter. So if the contacts are operated at high voltage, generally the power system is operated at high voltage, so therefore the contacts are always at a high potential. So when you are opening that contacts, there exists a arc, because the dielectric medium existing between the two contacts, which is operating at high voltage, so there exists a arc, because the dielectric medium will be, the air will be acting as a conducting medium, because there is a high potential. So therefore this dielectric medium, now this air is acting as a dielectric medium that will be acting as a conductor, so there exists an arc. So the isolator does not have any kind of extra arrangements to to quench the arc. So therefore it will be dangerous to the person who is operating over there. So that's why we are not operating the isolator during the load condition. But whereas in the circuit breaker you will be having a arc quenching property, so that will be based on their type of the circuit breaker that you are using. So it can be used for breaking the circuit during load conditions. Okay, so that is the main purpose of using circuit breakers, because the circuit breaker is having its own properties to quench the arc whenever arc is existing. So that's why it is safe to operate the circuit breaker during on load conditions. So this is the main difference between an isolator and a circuit breaker. Okay, so whenever the difference is there, means you have to remember the properties of the arc whenever there is a arc, so that you have to remove that arc by using certain methods. So circuit breaker is having its own properties, so depending upon that circuit breakers are again classified into various types, so that we will be discussing later. So that is the main difference between an isolator and a circuit breaker. Okay, so during no load condition also it will be useful for maintaining purpose. Okay, so that to break the circuit, so first one is the properties of the circuit breaker. Here if I write first property is during fault condition to break the circuit, to break the circuit during fault condition, to break the circuit during fault condition, break the circuit during fault condition. Okay, so second one is under full load, it is used for load shedding purpose. Under full load condition, it is used for load shedding purpose. For load shedding, what do you mean by shedding? Shedding means power cutting, like it can be called as like power cutting. So during summer you may be experiencing this one, load shedding. To balance the generation and demand, you are going for the load shedding. So whenever you are doing load shedding means what, you are removing the certain load from the grid to maintain the balance. So therefore load means it is already existing. If you want to cut the load, means you have to operate by using the circuit breaker only. Okay, so who will be giving this load scheduling signal here? The operator or a SCADA system will be giving the signal to shed the load to maintain the supply and demand equation. So SCADA or operator will be giving the trip signal, will gives the trip signal to the circuit breaker here. So who is giving here? Relay is giving trip signal in this case. So relay is giving trip signal. Okay, so relay is giving trip signal during fault condition, and during load shedding condition, operator or a SCADA will be giving the trip signal. Okay, and during during no load condition, also circuit breaker is used for the operation. So who is going to give this signal? Operator or a maintenance person is going to give the signal to the circuit breaker. Signal in the sense what? Who is going to operate? The purpose of doing the purpose of breaking the circuit breaker is nothing but giving the signal here. So there are three types of mechanisms here. So in these three types of mechanism, the circuit breaker is going to be operated. So therefore this is called shunt mechanism of operating. So first one is to break the circuit during fault condition. So that can be given by using relays. So whenever you are operating a relay, the relay will be giving the signal to the circuit breaker to break the circuit. Second one is the load shedding purpose. So that signal will be received from the SCADA or a regular controlling signals. And also some due to maintenance also we can manually use the circuit breakers to break the circuit. So this is called a shunt mechanism. So the circuit breaker should have the shunt mechanism operation. So what do you mean by shunt mechanism is I'll show by using a figure. So here let us take a power system here. I'm just giving with a signal DC source here. This is your circuit breaker mechanism, tripping mechanism, which is so this supply is for circuit breaker tripping mechanism only. So I am just having three mechanisms here. Okay, so first one is, so circuit breaker may be tripped by using relay signal. This is when the fault is taken place, or it may be tripped whenever the signal is received from the SCADA. SCADA is for scheduling the load. This is for load shedding. And this is for maintenance purpose. So this is for maintenance purpose. Operator can be giving the signal. So the tripping mechanism of the circuit breaker is here shunt mechanism. So this is one question asked in the previous examinations, competitive examination. Shunt mechanism is apted. Shunt mechanism is used for tripping the circuit breaker. Shunt mechanism is used for tripping the circuit breaker. Okay, so this is the first application of the circuit breaker. So first one is to break the circuit. To break the circuit when there is a fault, relay is giving the signal. Whenever there is a load shedding, SCADA is giving the signal. And whenever you require the maintenance, so therefore the operator is going to give the signal for breaking the circuit. So another application is here to make the circuit. So to make the circuit, So when are you going to make the circuit here after breaking? First one, during no load condition, same. During no load condition, if you want to connect a load during no load condition, you are using the circuit breaker to make the circuit. And during on load condition also, if you want to add another during on load condition, and third one also during fault condition. During fault condition. So 3 applications to make the circuit and 3 applications to break the circuit here. Okay, so you have to remember 3 points here. First one is the circuit breakers are always designed with respect to maximum fault condition, because circuit breaker has to withstand the maximum possible current which is flowing through the contacts. So circuit breaker is always designed circuit breaker is always designed with respect to its maximum fault condition. Designed with respect to maximum fault condition. Maximum fault condition means what here? Maximum fault only. Maximum fault condition. So among 5 faults, LG, LL, LLG, triple L, triple LG fault, or you can say 3-phase fault, the maximum fault condition, the maximum fault current will be existing for 3-phase fault. So the circuit breaker is designed based on the 3-phase fault currents which are flowing through the circuit. So if it is able to withstand for 3-phase fault, it can able to withstand for LG fault or double L fault also. So the maximum magnitude of current is flowing through 3-phase fault. So therefore the circuit breaker is designed with respect to its maximum fault condition. So that means 3-phase fault condition. And the second point is to calculate the design of circuit breaker, a 3-phase fault at its terminal is considered. That means triple L fault or a triple LG fault to design the circuit breaker contacts. So here it is a circuit breaker contact. Let us take to design these circuit breaker contacts. To design these circuit breaker contacts, the maximum fault current is taken into consideration because it has to withstand that fault condition. If you are taking LG fault as a reference, small current will be flowing through the electrodes. So after if it is designed with respect to LG fault, as and when there is a triple L fault is taking place, so the magnitude of the current is maximum, or a more magnitude of current will be flowing through the circuit breaker contacts. So as a protecting device, first of all it has to be protected from the fault. So therefore maximum fault current is taken into consideration for designing the circuit breaker contacts. So we know that maximum current will be flowing through when a triple L fault or a 3-phase fault is taken place. Okay. And the third one is the circuit breaker is always designed for shunt trip mechanism when it is used for the remote operation. So it is one of the important question asked in the SPDCL 2014. The circuit breaker is designed for shunt trip mechanism. Shunt trip mechanism. Just now we have seen shunt trip mechanism when it is used under remote operations. So if it is used under remote operations, it has to be designed for shunt mechanism. Remote operations, it has to be used for shunt mechanisms. Shunt mechanism in the sense what here? This is your shunt mechanism. This is called your shunt mechanism of operation. Okay, right. So there are 3 main properties are there in the circuit breaker concept. First one, so here Circuit breaker, the main parts in the circuit breakers are two contacts and one chamber. So this is your circuit breaker. So representation of the circuit breaker is like this. Out of these two contacts, one contact is fixed contact and another contact is moving contact. If you want to make the circuit, these moving contact will be attaching to the fixed contact. That means the circuit is closed. This is called making of the circuit. If you want to break the circuit, this moving contact will be detached from the fixed contact. That is called the breaking of the circuit, right? And already we discussed the power system network is operated at high magnitude of voltages. As and when you are detaching the moving contact from the fixed contact, the air which is existing between these two contacts will be, the dielectric strength of the air will be broken. The dielectric strength of the air will be broken, and it is the air is acting like a conducting medium. Therefore, there exists a arc between these two contacts. To quench this arc, you need to have a mechanism that is called arc quenching property or arc extinction property. So that will be based on the different type of applications circuit breakers have been classified. Okay, so here the main problem existing in the circuit breaker to be discussed is regarding this arc. Okay, so the main problem, the main topic that you have to discuss in the circuit breaker is arc. What do you mean by arc? What are the properties of this arc? Means as and when you move the moving contact from the fixed contact, there exists a arc that is called arc initiation. Arc initiation. Second one. Okay. So I wanted to break the circuit because I got a fault here in the somewhere. So that I have to break the circuit from this faulty position to the healthy position. So between these, this is healthy position and this is a faulty position. So if there is a fault is existing, this side is called fault position and left side of the circuit breaker is called healthy position. So healthy side. So when there is a fault, I wanted to separate these two sections by using the circuit breaker. So as and when I open the circuit breaker, I wanted to break this circuit so that this moving contact will be detaching from the fixed contact. Because of this high magnitude of voltages existing here, there exists a arc that is called arc initiation. Okay, after arc initiation, how much time the arc will be existing? That is called arc maintenance. So the duration of the arc existing between these two contacts is called arc maintenance. After that, we have to remove that arc. So that property is called arc extinction. That is called arc extinction. So these are the main properties of all the circuit breakers. So these are the common properties for all the circuit breakers except vacuum circuit breakers. We do not have these three properties. We will discuss regarding these at the time of vacuum circuit breakers. Okay, so these are the three properties for all the circuit breakers except vacuum circuit breakers. What are the first one? Arc initiation and arc maintenance. Third one is arc extinction. Right? So how the arc is generated and what is its impact and how to extinct the arc, that we will see in this class. First one, arc initiation. Arc initiation. How the arc is initiated, we'll see. For that, I am just taking the contacts here. So these are the circuit breaker contacts. First one is a fixed contact. This one is a moving contact. Okay, so I'm just representing with fixed contact and moving contact. This is my circuit breaker under working condition. That means the current is flowing through this, so it is closed. So what is the distance between these two contacts? I am representing with x. Okay, so distance between these two contacts, let us represent like this. X is 0 centimeters, so there is no gap. X is 0 centimeters. And what is the voltage existing between fixed contact and moving contact when they are in closed condition? That means under short circuit condition, therefore 0 voltages, 0 volts. So this is my general working condition. Now when the arc will be initiated means as and when I wanted to open the circuit. That means I wanted to detach this moving contact from the fixed contact. Okay, so let us take, there is a fault at t is equal to 0. At t is equal to 0, who is the boss for the circuit breaker? Is the relay, because it has to receive the signal from the relay, then only it will be working. Relay or a signal from SCADA or the signal from the operator, just now we have seen. So from these three operations, from these three commands only, the circuit breaker is going to be worked. So mostly we are taking relay only because it is used under faulty condition. So therefore, as and when the relay is sending the signal to the circuit breaker, then it is going to start moving from the fixed contact. So here so at t is equal to 0, at t is equal to 0, the signal is received from the relay. Signal is received from the relay. Right. So before discussing that, at t is equal to 0 minus, t is equal to 0 minus, everything is in normal condition. No trip signal received. No trip signal received to circuit breaker at t is equal to 0 minus. Right. Then at t is equal to 0, trip signal is received from the relay. At t is equal to 0, it is the trip signal has been received. The trip signal received. So immediately after receiving the signal, the circuit breaker will not be the moving contact will not be detached from the fixed contact. It will be taking some time to open because it is a mechanical device. Okay, at t is equal to 0, immediately after receiving the signal, the distance may not be increased. Still the distance will be 0 centimeter only, and the voltage existing between these also 0 volts only. Now at t is equal to 0 plus, just discussing the transient behavior, at t is equal to 0 plus, now the circuit breaker contacts are starts separating. Circuit breaker contacts are starts separating. That means a minor distance will be existing. Here this is my circuit breaker earlier what I have taken. At t is equal to 0 plus, circuit breaker is moved around this much. Okay, so this one I am representing this one. This distance is separated. This is fixed contact, this is moving contact. Moving contact is detached from this fixed contact around a distance x. So I am just taking the value of x very less, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, that much. That means here very minute, 0.1 into 10 to the power of minus 6 centimeters. This much distance it has been moved. So what will be the voltage existing here? Let us take around a 5 volts. Small voltage I am taking 5 volts. Now because of this distance moved from the fixed contact, having the 5 voltage across these two contacts, because it is the air which is existing between these two contacts will be ionized. Then what is the electric field intensity existing between these two contacts will calculate. So you can call it as a stress across these contacts also. Stress across these contacts because of the medium, or electric field intensity, or the gradient. So we already discussed this one in the physics. So gradient of this or electric field intensity can be calculated by using the formula applied voltage divided by the distance between these contacts. So what will be the gradient electric field intensity across the circuit breaker because of the movement of a small distance? Because of the movement of the small distance is 5 volts divided by 0.1 into 10 to the power of minus 6 centimeters. Now what will be the gradient here? 500. I can calculate like 500 or 500 kilovolts per centimeters. Okay, now is that correct? Let us see. So this will be 50 into 10 to the power of 6 volts per meter. Volts per meter. Okay, so this one I am just taking meters only. Meters, not centimeters, meters. So now it will be 550 into 10 to the power of 6 volts per meter. So it can be written as 50 into 10 to the power of 3 kilovolts per meter. Then 500 kilovolts per centimeter. Yes. So the gradient will be now 500 kilovolts per centimeter because of moving of the distance between these two contacts is 0.1 into 10 to the power of minus 6 meters. Right. So because of that, the gradient is now here. I'm writing gradient here directly. Gradient is equal to 500 kilovolts per centimeter. Then what is the air dielectric strength of the air? I am representing with capital G. Dielectric strength of the air is 21.1 kilovolts per centimeter. 21.1 kilometers per centimeter. So here the air is a medium between these two contacts, right? So air is a medium between these two contacts, fixed contact and moving contact, and the dielectric strength of this air is capital G, which is 21.1 kilovolts per centimeter. But because of the movement of this fixed contact, this moving contact from the fixed contact, let me take a small distance of 0.1 into 10 to the power minus 6 meters. Because of the small voltage 5 volts, it is having the gradient of 500 kilovolts per centimeter. Therefore, this gradient is more than this dielectric strength of the air. The medium will be breaks down. That means the field is going to be ionized. The field is going to be ionized, called a field ionization. Field ionization. Field means what here? Air. The dielectric strength of the air is going to be breakdown. The medium is going to be breakdown. The field is going to be ionized, and the arc is existing, called arc struck between the conductors. Arc struck between the contacts. Between the contacts. So here the first point of the circuit breaker, the first property of the circuit breaker, arc initiation has been taken place. Arc struck between the contacts because of moving of the moving contact which is detaching from the fixed contact of a small distance itself. Okay, and the generally the circuit breaker is operated. The operation of the circuit breaker is measured with cycles. Cycles means for 50 hertz cycle, the 50 hertz cycle, the time is 20 millisecond. The time is frequency is frequency is a 50 hertz na. So what will be the time here? Time is equal to 1 by 50, which is nothing but 20 milliseconds. So what is the time here? 20 milliseconds. Circuit breaker is measured with the operating of the circuit breaker is measured with the cycles. So the operating time of a circuit breaker is generally 1.5 cycle circuit breaker. 1.5 cycle circuit breaker. What is meaning of 1.5 cycle circuit breaker? For one cycle 20 milliseconds, for half cycle 10 milliseconds. So therefore it is 30 milliseconds. The operating time of the circuit breaker is 30 milliseconds. So when, if you take, for example, if you take a 1.5 cycle circuit breaker, for example, if you take a 1.5 cycle circuit breaker, one and a half cycle circuit breaker. That means here 30 milliseconds operating time. After this 1.5 cycle, the contacts of the circuit breaker is fully opened. This is your circuit breaker which is fully opened. The contacts of the circuit breakers are fully opened after 1.5 cycle. Here what is the first property? Because of this movement, arc struck between the contacts. Arc struck between these contacts. So this is your arc. I am representing like this. This is my arc. Arc struck between the contacts. So here the voltage existing between these two contacts is V arc. V arc. And the distance is x between these two contacts is x. Okay. What about this voltage here? Voltage is around 2 to 5 times, 2 to 5% of system voltage. The arc voltage is 2 to 5 times of 2 to 5% of the system voltage. That much arc voltage is existing between these two contacts. Okay, so this is your fault current. Because of the fault existing only, you wanted to open the circuit here. Okay, that means what will be your arc voltage? Let us take 5% of the system voltage. System voltage I am taking 100 kV, 100 kV operating system. Okay, so what is your system what is your arc voltage existing? 5% of this maximum system voltage. That means the arc voltage V arc is equal to 5% of 100 kV, which is equal to 5 kV. Okay, so distance I am taking 1 centimeter. And what is the gradient of this G? Gradient can be V by X. Just now we have calculated 5 kV divided by 1 centimeter. That means the gradient is here 5 kV per centimeter. Right? What is the gradient of air? Air gradient is G is equal to the gradient of air. G is equal to 21.1 kV per centimeter. What is your gradient now? 5 kV per centimeter. Okay. So when the problem is going to arise, when G is greater than G, your gradient is more than the dielectric strength of the air, arc is going to be initiated. When G is greater than G, then the arc is going to be initiated. Arc is going to be initiated. Here in this case, G is less than capital G. Therefore, G is less than G. What is the second process here? What we are discussing means, I will repeat here. Arc initiation process we are discussing. Earlier, the contacts are fully closed, distance is 0, and the voltage existing between these two contacts is 0. At t is equal to 0 minutes, there is no tripping mechanism received from the relay to circuit breaker. At t is equal to 0, tripping signal has been received. Therefore, the circuit breaker is going to operate. That means at t is equal to 0, there is no operation not yet started. At t is equal to 0 plus, the circuit breaker contacts are going to move from a the closed position to a small distance. The small distance I am taking as 0.1 into 10 to the power minus 6, and the voltage is around 5 volts. Therefore, the gradient is now 500 kilovolt per centimeter, which is greater than the dielectric strength of the air G, which is equal to 21.1 kilovolts per centimeter. Therefore, the air which is existing between these two conductors will be ionized. That is called field ionization. Because of the field ionization, arc struck between the contacts. If you are taking a 1.5 cycle circuit breaker, after 1.5 cycle, complete contacts will be opened, and here the gradient is the gradient is 5 kilovolt per centimeter. Even though the gradient is less than the uh, dielectric strength of the air, the arc is still existed. That is because of thermal ionization. That's what the main important point here. Thermal ionization. Why? Because already arc struck between these two contacts, which is going to ionize the contacts, the circuit breaker. So because of that, the arc is still existing. That is due to thermal ionization. That is not because of field ionization. The second condition, arc is struck between the contacts because of field ionization. Arc is continued due to thermal ionization of the medium here. Even though the value of the value of gradient G is less than the air dielectric strength, arc is existing. That is due to thermal ionization. Arc is maintained because of thermal ionization. That is called the second point of the arc property. First one is arc is initiated. Second one is arc is maintained. Why the arc is maintained? Because of the thermal ionization. Very important. Okay. Why? Because of excessive heat energy released in the contact chamber of the circuit breaker. Heat means thermal. So therefore arc is maintained due to thermal ionization. Right. So that's what the 2 points we have discussed rather. First one is arc initiation. Arc initiation. The second one is arc maintenance. And the third one is arc extinction. Already we discussed, but anyway I'm explaining here. Extinction. First one is due to arc initiation is done due to field ionization. Arc is maintained due to thermal ionization. And another one is we have to extinct the arc. We have to quench the arc. That means you have to kill the source. Which is maintaining the arc. That means you are extinguishing the arc. Maintaining this arc. You have to kill the source of arc maintenance. That is called arc extinction methods. Okay. How can you kill the source? That is, the source of the maintaining of arc is thermal ionization. What do you mean by thermal ionization? Excessive heat produced at the contact of the circuit breaker chamber. So therefore, if you know the source of arc maintenance, you can kill that source. Therefore, arc will be extincted. So the heat energy can be calculated as I square R losses only. So I square R losses into time, how much time it is existing. So it will be very small only. So no need to bother about this, but you have to worry of this fault current IF square and arc resistance. Arc resistance in the sense what here? This is your circuit breaker. Arc is struck between these two contacts. That means the arc means what here? Current only. Am I correct? current only. So arc has to start its journey from this contact to this contact through the dielectric medium as a air. It is breaking down the dielectric strength of the air, so that the dielectric strength, the air is acting as a medium. Therefore, the arc is traveling from this contact to this contact. So therefore, the dielectric strength of the air has been broken. No? So now the air is acting like a conductor. Therefore, the fault current is flowing from this contact to this contact. If you reduce the resistance of this air, that means if you reduce the resistance, that is called arc resistance, ultimately you can stop the current which is flowing from this contact to this contact. That is called arc resistance here. That means arc resistance. So if arc resistance is increased, arc will not be flow through these two contacts. Therefore, you can reduce the arc or you can extend the arc. That's what the meaning, arc extinction method. That means first one, in what way you can reduce the arc means, first one is by increasing the resistance of this arc. Therefore, first method of arc extinction is high resistance method. Very simple to understand. High resistance method. High resistance method. High resistance method here, which is used for both AC and DC circuit breakers. High resistance method used for both AC and DC circuit breakers. And second one is current zero interruption method. We'll explain both. Current zero interruption method. Current zero interruption method. So this is used only for AC circuit breakers. Why means we'll discuss it. Only AC circuit breaker. Okay. So therefore, the arc quenching properties are there. The arc quenching methods are high resistance method and current zero interruption method. We'll go one by one of these two methods. First one is the high resistance method. How the arc is going to be extincted? The arc is going to be quenched by using high resistance method means high resistance method. This is used for both AC and DC circuit breakers. High resistance method. Okay. So in this method, the arc resistance is increased. Arc resistance is increased. Arc resistance is increased, and the fault current is decreased to a value. So which is just insufficient to maintain the arc. Therefore, the arc will be extinct. That means here the fault current IF is nothing but V arc by R arc. High resistance method. If you are increasing the value of the resistance, fault current will be reduced and the voltage is fixed constant here. Arc voltage is fixed constant. Therefore, the current will be reduced, which is flowing from the two contacts of the circuit breaker, right? And we are having the formula for heat energy. Just now we have discussed I fault current square into R arc into time. So from this you can understand that heat energy is directly proportional to arc resistance. Okay na? So but it is not correct. I can write like this. Heat energy is directly proportional to heat energy is equal to I square into R into time, bro. So I fault current E is nothing but here V arc by R arc whole square into R arc into T. So this is the formula I have been used here, right? So this is the formula I just substituted here. Now what it will be, heat energy here, heat energy is equal to V arc square divided by R arc square into R arc into time. This will be cancelled out. Now your heat energy is equal to Heat energy is inversely proportional to R arc. If the resistance of the arc increased, the heat energy will be reduced. Heat energy will be reduced, and also the fault current is also reduced, because I fault is equal to V arc by R arc. So if conclusions I'm writing here, if the value of arc resistance is increased, then the fault current is reduced. Therefore, I square R losses, heat energy is also reduced. Further, heat energy also reduced. Then, what is my first aim? I have to increase the R arc. Resistance of the arc has to be increased. So the value of the resistance is rho L by A. If I want to increase the resistance value, I have to increase the length, and as well as I have to decrease the area of cross section of the arc. So what is my first method for arc extinctions? First method is high resistance method. Just now we have discussed. So first method is high resistance method. High resistance method. What is that high resistance? Resistance of arc. R arc has to be increased. That can be done by using R is equal to rho L by A. R arc is nothing but rho L by A. L has to be increased, A has to be reduced. That's what my methods to finish the arc. Length of the arc has to be increased. First method, length of the arc has to be increased. Second one, area of cross section or cross section area of arc has to be reduced. So these are the two methods I have to apply for quenching the arcs. How can you increase the length of the arc? How can you reduce the cross section of the arc? Means, first one, by cooling the arc you can reduce the heat energy. Okay, first one, by cooling the arc you can reduce the heat energy by cooling the arc. Second one is by lengthening the arc. That's what L increasing, by increasing the length of the arc. Third one, by decreasing the cross sectional area of arc, or by splitting the arc, or by constraining the arc. Okay, so how these methods means, I'll tell you with an example. This is your contacts here. Arc is existing here, this way. Arc is existing. I wanted to increase the resistance of the arc. So this is the direct medium. This is the direct way of arc which is flowing through the two contacts. Now, if I want to increase the resistance of this, then what I have to do? I have to divert this way of this arc, and I have to. That means what? I am increasing the resistance of this arc. So I am just diverting the path of this arc which is directly flowing from this contact to this contact. I have been increased the resistance value. How can you improve the value here? Simply by throwing some air here. If an air is forcefully applied across these two contacts, then the arc will be diverting its way from this contact to this contact, rather than coming directly. It will be taking some irregular directions here, so that the length of the arc will be reduced, and the arc will be quenched. Quenched means what? It will be vanished. So that is one of the method. This is called air is blasting between these two contacts. If the circuit breaker is employing this kind of property, that circuit breaker is called air blast circuit breaker. Air blast circuit breaker. So how the circuit breaker is existing here? Air blast circuit breaker means simply you are sending some air which is existing between the, which is going to divert the arc, which is going to increase the resistance of the arc by just applying certain air across these two contacts of the circuit breaker. The arc is taking some other diversion from the fixed contact to moving contact. Therefore, the arc is going to be extincted. This is called air blast circuit breaker, and these chutes are called air chutes or arc chutes. These are called arc chutes because of applying the air. Arc is going to have some chutes called arc chutes, right? So high resistance method is used for both low current interruptions in AC one, low current interruptions, because for high current interruption, even though if you apply this air, arc will restrike again due to excessive restriking voltage coming across the breaker contacts. So that's why this air blast, this kind of application is used only for low current interruptions only. Low current interruptions only. Even though if you are applied for high current interruptions, because of the voltage existing between these two contacts, again there will be arc existing. Arc again it will be struck between these two contacts. So it is not applicable for high current interruptions. It is used only for low current interruptions. Low current interruptions. Once arc is extincted, therefore again the arc will not be struck again for low current interruptions. Right? So if you are going for high current interruptions, again arc will be struck between these two contacts. So it is not recommended for high current interruptions. And another method of arc extinction property is current zero interruption method. So another method is here current zero interruption method. I said that this is used only for AC circuits, AC supply only. Current zero interruption. Current zero interruption method. So by the name only you have to understand this one. What is the meaning of current interruption? Means I already told you that this is used for only AC. So this is your voltage waveform or current waveform. Let us take this is a fault current IF. Now if the fault is taken place here or somewhere, the circuit breaker contacts gets fully opened here. So circuit breaker, it has taken some time to open. So this is your circuit breaker opening time. Now they at this position circuit breaker contacts have been opened. Now if you want to quench the arc at this point, the magnitude of the current is high. So therefore you require lot of various methods to quench the arc at this position. Rather than quenching the arc at this position, if you are quenching the arc at this position or at this position, therefore the current which is flowing through the contacts will be zero. This is called natural current zero positions. Natural current zero positions. So the arc is always interrupted at a natural current zero point because at this natural current zero points the rate of ionization is minimum. That's what the main point here. The rate of ionization is minimum. Ionization is minimum. Therefore, the arc is interrupted. The arc is interrupted at natural current zero position. That's why the name is called current zero interruption. Because at this position, the rate of ionization is minimum, or the field ionization. That what is that meaning here? The field ionization is minimum. We are having two types of ionization. First one is the field ionization. Second one is the thermal ionization. Arc is initiated due to field ionization. Arc is maintained due to thermal ionization. So first one we need to extinct the arc means we have to reduce the arc initiation first. Therefore we have to concentrate more on field ionization. Here the field ionization can be done when the current is at natural zero position, because there the rate of ionization is minimum. Therefore it is easy to quench the arc at the natural current zero interruption method. Therefore arc interruption can be done at natural current zero position only. Okay. So these are the important points regarding basics of circuit breakers. So in this class, we have discussed regarding circuit breaker purpose, to make the circuit and to break the circuit. And to break the circuit, we are having three uses: that to break the circuit and during fault condition, to break the circuit during load shedding purpose, and for maintaining purpose. So shunt mechanism is used for tripping the circuit breaker. Similarly, for to make the circuit during no load and on load condition, and also during fault condition. So circuit breaker is always designed with respect to its maximum fault condition. That means a three-phase fault, and the contacts are also designed with respect to the three-phase fault. And a shunt trip mechanism is used for operating the circuit breakers under remote operations. Okay, so here the main properties under circuit breaker, the main properties are arc initiation, arc maintenance, and arc extension. Arc initiation can be done because of field ionization, and arc maintenance can be done because of thermal ionization. And for arc extension method, we are having two methods. First one, high resistance method, which is used for both AC and DC supply, and current zero interruption, which is used for AC supply only. High resistance method is used for low current interruption method, because if you are applying for high current interruptions, again there will be a chance to get the arc between the two contacts. And natural current zero interruption is used because there is a less the rate of ionization is less at a natural zero ionization point. Therefore, arc connection will be easy. So these are the basics which are required for circuit breakers.